Guys, listen, it doesn't matter how worldly you think you are or how smart you think you are absolutely no match for a Thai bar girl. These women are absolute masters in the art of flirtation, seduction, and manipulation. And guys, let me tell you something, by the time they're done with you, you will be completely destroyed and you will be leaving Thailand with your tail between your legs. If you're lucky enough to have a tail left by the time you leave. Guys, listen, if you're not prepared in protecting yourself by watching videos like this, you are going to get crushed here in Thailand. Why, hello there, guys, and welcome to the very first episode of Tales from Thailand with me, your crazy, kooky host, Dr. Mark Sabian, teaching you how to not only survive, but thrive living in Thailand through tales from my friends, my subscribers, commenters, and just people that I've met in general during my travels here in Thailand. Well, again, sorry, not here in Thailand because I'm not technically in Thailand right now. I am still stuck in Malaysia. And guys, let me tell you something, this was the worst trip of my life. You know how I did the video about who shouldn't go to Thailand? I'm gonna tell you who shouldn't go to Malaysia. You or anybody else, because it was the most miserable time of my life. But guys, that's a video for another day. Today, it's all about how to survive and thrive living in Thailand. And today's subject, guys, is all about bar girls told through the incredible life and misfortune of my friend Bob. Bob has been living in Thailand for just slightly over 2 years, so about a month longer than I have, and Bob has had one of the most challenging times possible, all because A, he's too nice, B, he can't stand to be alone long enough, and C, he didn't watch any of my videos and learn that you should not ever get involved with a bar girl. Now, I wish that I could introduce you guys to Bob in this video personally, because Bob would completely dispel the myth of the loser guy that moves to Thailand. A lot of people think that we're all like in our 50s, 60s, we're out of shape, we're completely useless for everything, you know, we're dumb, we're sex fiends, blah, 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 blah. And Bob would completely change your perception of that, because incredibly good-looking guy, fantastic shape, very intelligent, extremely well off, and goes to the gym every single day. However, so again, what makes this story so crazy is that Bob is the quintessential guy's guy. Every guy that meets him thinks that, man, this guy's got his together, you know, fantastic. You're sitting there, you'd love to have his hair, you'd probably love to have his physique, especially if you're in your 50s, and the overall charm that the guy actually has. It's just sad that he has no self-esteem or can't spend more than 5 minutes alone. Otherwise, Bob's life could be perfect. So listen, the very first time I met Bob was completely by chance. It was about 9 o'clock at night. It is pouring down rain, and I'm walking home from a restaurant on Nanai Road. Now, I will admit, I had a couple of beer at the restaurant. That's why I was walking. And when it started to rain really bad, I just jumped into the very first bar that I could find and grab a beer and wait out the rain. One of the bar girls comes over to me. She starts talking to me. She sits down. She starts touching me, you know, massaging my thighs and stuff. And I'm like, dear, listen, I'm not interested. I just want to sit here, talk to some friends on the phone, and I'm going to have my beer and go. Thankfully, she got up and left. She understood that. She was cool with it. Bob's another story. Bob was sitting over in the corner, and I noticed him sitting there looking at me, and he'd look back down to his drink, then he'd look at me, and I thought, that's kind of creepy at first. And it was really creepy when Bob got up and walked over and sat down beside me and put his hand on my shoulder, and I thought, ooh, this is kind of creepy. I'm used to the lady boys doing it, but this guy's going a little too far. Anyway, you like how he admitted that? Anyways, he says to me, son, can I give you some advice? And I thought, son, I'm your age, dude. Like, anyways, I took that as a compliment. So he says to me, man, if I can tell you one thing about living here, don't ever get emotionally involved with a bar girl. And then he proceeded to tell me why. Now, I knew all of this beforehand. luckily. But Bob's story will blow your mind. So I'm going to tell Bob's story the best way that I possibly can. He shared the whole thing with me, and he has actually asked me to share it with you because he has seen a lot of my videos. He likes the way I deliver things. He loves my no approach to everything, and he just likes the way I narrate my stories. So I'm going to tell you Bob's story in my own words, and man, oh man, I'm going to tell you something. The bar girls are experts, and they're extremely well skilled in being flirtatious, building relationships, and manipulation, guys. You need to understand this, okay? Their sole purpose is to get you to believe that they're interested in you, for you to feel as though that there's a connection, so that you sit there and you spend more money, you buy them more drinks. The more time you talk to them, the more money you're going to spend. Not only that, they do have the goal of hopefully getting you to pay the bar fine. The bar fine is typically about 500 baht, which is $15 that you're going to pay to the bar to take the girl home at the end of the night. Or at some point during the evening, which I'm going to get back to in a little bit here in the video, so remember that one, okay? So their goal is to get you to spend as much money as you can, get you to buy them as many drinks as you can, because their drinks is how they get paid from the bar. So when you buy them a drink, it's typically 200 baht, which is $6. I know that's not a lot of money when you're coming from Las Vegas or New York or LA or someplace like that, but in Thailand, that's quite a bit of money towards a drink, especially, guys, when that drink most of the time is pineapple juice. Yeah, you're paying 200 baht, $6 for a little tiny glass of pineapple juice. These girls would be absolutely full-blown alcoholics and probably dead after a couple of years if they actually drank as many drinks as they're given on a nightly basis, especially if they're pretty in a very active bar. Anyways, that's their whole goal, is to get you to buy as many drinks as you can for them, because they get paid 100 baht, which is $3 for every drink that you buy them. So they're going to sit there, they're going to flirt with you, they're going to talk to you, they're going to touch you, they're going to allow you to molest them in ways that, as I've said many, many times before, would get your whooped by a bouncer or even sent to jail back home. I've seen some pretty crazy, heavy petting and flirtatious crap, man, happen in bars, and it's downright pornographic, to be honest with you. Anyways, that's what happened to poor Bob, was that Bob wound up going to one of these bars, and he found this bar girl that he honestly believes they have this incredible connection. And you can talk to Bob until the cows come home, until you're blue in the face, until whatever crazy analogy you want to use or old saying you want to use. Bob just will not listen, that she is not different, that that is her job, that's her sole purpose, is to extract as much money as she can from him. So I'm going to tell you the whole story about Bob and his bar girl, because it's going to shock you. Bob started going to this one bar, and again, he really started liking this girl. And what happened was, he would go there and spend 3 or 4 hours at the bar just talking to her, touching her, and then he would leave and come back to find her sitting there doing the exact same thing with other guys. And that kind of really upset Bob. He didn't like it, and he felt like, well, I thought she liked me, blah 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 blah. So then he started sitting there all night long doing nothing but buying her drinks. And guys, you have to understand that in the run of 5 or 6 hours, you can buy them quite a few drinks. So I'm talking 10 to 12 drinks, which works out to be 2,000 to 2,400 baht, which is 60 to 70 US dollars. That's a lot of money to spend for absolutely nothing, guys. Not only that, Bob was sitting there drinking himself, not heavy. Again, like I said, it's not like he was getting plowed or twisted or anything like that, but still, that's not healthy to sit and drink constantly, plus spend money like that. finally, the girl said to him one night, well, are you not going to ask me to go home with you? And Bob was like, wow, am I allowed to do that? And she goes, well, of course you are. Then she explains to him the bar fine. So now Bob has to pay 500 baht to the bar. Now, Bob truly believed that when she asked him, are you not going to ask me to go home with you? Bob really thought that she meant like go home with him for free. No. Now you have to keep in mind, she knows that Bob's been coming to the bar for a little over 2 weeks, just slightly under 3 weeks, every day to see just her. No other girl, he just sits there and does nothing but buy her drinks. Now, to take a bar girl home for a short time, depending on how they look, guys, is usually about 2,000 baht, which is $60 for an hour, okay? Usually, for the night, you can get them 3,000, 3,500. This girl convinced Bob that she got paid 7,500 baht a night, which works out to be approximately 225 US dollars. Now, Bob being Bob, having enough money in the bank that money's really not a question for him or a problem, he thought, wow, I get to take this beautiful girl home for that, and paid it. So she's already charged him almost double or 3 times what she typically gets paid. Next morning, Bob gets up and he's had a great time, and he says to her, listen, do you get any days off? And she goes, well, no, I really don't. I have to work because I have to feed my family and stuff, blah, 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 blah. I've got kids, blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden now, 1 day into it, she is going on about how she needs to support her family back home. Oh, God. You can see how it's starting to spin out of control already, okay? So, that's fine. About a week goes by, and Bob has taken her home twice. So he's paid her 15,000 baht on top of everything else, okay? On top of everything else, if you can believe that, okay? So 15,000 baht is about 450 US dollars. Bob asks her if she would like to take the day off and spend some time with him doing something, and she says, I'm sorry, I have to work. That's fine. About 2 days later, he gets a message from her on the Line app, and she's like, oh, listen, I want to go to this Buddhist temple that's way outside the city, and I want to release some frogs into the water. It's this important Buddhist thing. Would you please help me do that? So Bob was like, wow, she wants to spend time with me. I can't believe it. So he takes his bike, goes to her room, picks her up, takes her to the market, buys her frogs, gets ice to put inside of the bucket on his scooter so that the frogs don't die from the heat, drives her all the way out about an hour away to this beautiful waterfall where they have these long winding little brooks and stuff, and she puts the frogs in the water and they have an absolutely wonderful time. She then asks Bob if he would take her for Mugata. Now, Mugata is one of those barbecue places where you cook everything yourself, and they're actually a whole lot of fun. For 2 people, they're about 800 baht, which works out to be about $32. So it's a fantastic deal, really, okay? You can't complain about them. They're wonderful. And actually, I apologize. That should be 24 US dollars, not 32. It's 32 Canadian, 24 American. Anyways, Bob does that, and then she says to him, well, can I spend the night at your place? Bob is in absolute heaven. He can't believe this. He spent the day with one of the most beautiful girls he's ever seen in his life. He got to go to dinner with her, and now she wants to spend the night with him, and Bob just can't believe his luck. So he takes her home. They do whatever they do. I didn't ask, didn't want details. The next morning, when she's getting ready to go home, she asks if she can get a little bit of extra money for the grab bike. And Bob's like, oh, no, it's okay, I'll drive you home myself. And she goes, no, it's okay, I got a few things I want to do, so if you could just give me a little extra along with my pay. And Bob was kind of like, your pay, what do you mean? She goes, well, Bob, I spent the whole day with you and the whole night with you, so I'm going to need 15,000 baht. And Bob is like, what? 15,000 baht? What is going on? And she starts getting mad. Now, here's the kicker. Here's where they become so versed in manipulation, because now she's making Bob feel as though Bob has done something wrong, when really anybody looking at this situation would think that no, Bob didn't do anything wrong at all. Yet she's going on about how, oh, you don't care about me, you're using me, you knew that I took all this time off of work for you. And Bob's like, well, no, wait a minute. You asked me to take you to the temple site with the frogs. You asked me to take you to eat. And you asked for you to spend the night. I didn't ask you to do any of this. And she's like, well, you knew that I got paid every day. You know that I have to get paid. I have a family to take care of and all of this stuff. And poor Bob is there. He just can't believe it. So she gets all upset and she storms out. Without taking any money, okay? So she storms out. Bob, being Bob, chases after her, brings her back in, tries to calm her down and work out some type of arrangement with her where he can give her some money today and make it up to her down the road. She's happy with that. Of course she's happy with that, because she just got to do what she wanted. She got a fantastic meal, spent the night in a really nice place, and she wound up getting 10,000 baht for it, okay? Plus an extra 100 baht to take a motorbike taxi home. I can't make this stuff up, guys. I'm telling you, this is straight from Bob himself. So that's fine. Now Bob is starting to wonder, you know, like how could she do that? So Bob didn't go see her that night or the next night at work because, well, he had just spent close to 50,000 baht in the past couple of weeks. So he's trying to scale back on what he's spending. So he goes to the bar, I think it was 3 or 4 nights later, he said, and there she was with a table full of guys getting plastered drunk. Now these guys were buying rounds of shots, and they were making sure, because they know about the pineapple juice, they were making sure they were getting their money's worth. So she completely ignored Bob, partied with the guys because they were spending tons of money, wound up going home with not one of the guys. No, she didn't go home with one of the guys. She went home with all of the guys, okay? Bob was absolutely brokenhearted. He wound up going home, drinking for a few days. She's texting him like crazy, trying to explain to him that, well, that's my job and I need to make money and I have a family to support. And if you're not able to support me and my family, I have to make that money somehow. And this is how I have to make the money and all of this stuff. Yeah. Like an idiot, Bob says, well, how much money do you need to not have to do that? And she came back with a figure of 50,000 baht a week. Not a month, a week. That's 200,000 baht a month. That, my friends, is one pile of money. That's 6,000 US dollars a month. So Bob says to her, you promise that you're not going to go home with these guys anymore? She promises. Guess what Bob does? Starts paying her 50,000 baht a week. Plus, he's going to the bar almost every single night. So one night, he didn't get there until later on, and when he arrived, she wasn't there. So he asks the mama son who's running the bar, who essentially is a glorified pimp, okay, where is she? And she goes, oh, well, she's with a customer right now. And Bob's looking around the bar going, no, she's not. She goes, no, she's with a customer for short time. Bob's like, what? Turns out that when Bob's not at the bar, she is an expert at doing short time transactions, which means she meets a guy, he buys her a drink, She convinces him to take her to this tiny little Love Shack hotel straight across the road from the bar that they're at. They go in, do the deed. She comes back, has a drink with a couple other people, does the same thing, goes over, short time loving, comes back. When Bob gets there, she doesn't have to do that because Bob is spending thousands every night so that she sits with him. So she's going over, doing really quick, short time, whatever, at 1,000 baht a shot. And poor Bob learns this. After putting out close to 750,000 baht on this girl. Guys, 750,000 baht is about $30,000. And I'm going to tell you something, that was in 5 months. She has nothing to show for it. She claims that she sent the money back home to do this and do that, but every time she turned around, she was asking Bob for more money to fix something at home. The goat got sick, the cow got sick, her mom got sick, her grandmother died, her kid got sick, her kid needed a computer. Just, it was absolutely insane how every single thing that could go wrong in this girl's life did go wrong. And when it did go wrong, it was a small fortune to fix it. Bob still believes that she's different. Bob believes that she really cares for him, even though just last week he found out that she was still doing short time visits with guys. So you know what Bob told me? He's gonna have to start going to the bar sooner because Bob just can't get her out of his head. And guys, I'm gonna tell you something. When Bob sat down and told me, don't ever get involved emotionally with a bar girl, he was 100% right. It's just sad that Bob can't take his own advice. Hopefully you'll listen to this story and you'll understand that you should never get involved with a bar girl in Thailand. It's never gonna work out. She's never gonna leave the life. And guys, I'm gonna tell you something. You don't understand how many different guys these girls are with. If you knew, you'd never kiss one, let alone have sex with one. You really got to think, guys, when you come to Thailand. And I'm going to tell you something. This is the best advice anyone can ever get. If you're going to come to Thailand and if you need companionship, do not, under any circumstances, get emotionally, romantically, or financially involved with a bar girl, okay? It is going to end up every bit as bad for you as it did for Bob. The only thing that might save you is that you probably don't have Bob's income. If you did, you'd probably spend as much as Bob did too. Especially if you've never been in a situation where you've been with a beautiful girl. A lot of guys come here, and I hate to say this, I don't want to sound too crude, but they've never experienced the absolute sheer pleasure of being with an unbelievably gorgeous, well-built girl. And they get hooked on that man harder than anybody I've ever seen on any type of drug, man. Sex is the #1 drug in the world, it seems, for people, especially if they've never tasted or experienced absolute beauty before. I'm telling you guys, it's addictive like crazy. Just ask Bob. Bob would tell you if he wasn't so embarrassed and humiliated as to what he's allowing to happen to himself. So guys, Bob and I don't want to see this happen to you. So please watch my videos. My next one's going to be about why you should never, ever, ever get involved with a massage girl, what you need to know about getting involved with a massage girl, and how they manipulate you into feeling sorry for them so that you will get involved with them. Bar girls and massage girls are a completely different breed, okay? Everybody knows what a bar girl is. Not everybody knows what a massage girl is. And my next video is about my buddy Jack. And yeah, Jack's in the black, kids. Jack is in the black. Until next time, kids, please live your best life. And I promise you, your life will be fantastic if you avoid ever getting involved with a bar girl in Thailand. So until next time, kids, cheers.